Thank you very much, Chairman, for those glowing remarks. Delegates, the government has had an awfully tough time coming to terms with the economic realities. If you think about it, they started with denial. This is not happening. Remember Brian Cowen's famous line about the fundamentals of the economy being good. Well, if I lived in a house whose fundamentals were that good, I'd pitch a tent in the front garden and live there for my own safety. Then they got into the blame game. Then Fianna Fáil, in classic Fianna Fáil style, got into the blame game. It was all George Lee's fault. Then they started to bargain with people. Sure, if we get close enough to the social partners, it'll be grand, so it will. But then they tried to put their arms around the opposition. Sure, come on over here. We can share the blame with you. In fact, government ministers started talking about something that I'd never hear a Fianna Fáil minister saying: national unity, national government. So we're all in this together. You always know that Fianna Fáil are in deep trouble when they're looking for help from Fine Gael. Of course, this is a substitute for inaction in government. We need a national government of action, led by Fine Gael, not a government of national unity with Fianna Fáil involved. The people know that Fianna Fáil is part of the problem, but they ain't going to be part of the cure. The standard of living of each and every person in this country and in this hall is going to drop by 10%. 10% minimum. That's a promise made by our Taoiseach Brian Cowen. And while some of us might doubt and might have doubts about Fianna Fáil making promises, because when they make positive promises, they rarely turn out true. But when they make negative ones, you can take it that it's not good. Negative promises from Fianna Fáil come true, and they last longer than they say. Don't forget Brian Cowen said recently it's going to be 5 years before we see any improvement. In the last while, the government has been putting forward three possibilities: taxes more, borrow more, and cut services to all of us. Now, those three options are surrender options. They're lowest common denominator options. They're options of a jaded crowd of people who long, long ago lost contact with real life, real suffering, even real possibilities. They're battening down the hatches we no longer have and hoping that someone, somewhere, will eventually provide hope and direction and possibility. I am glad to tell this Ardesh, this Fine Gael Ardesh, that Fine Gael is providing hope and direction for the Irish people. People don't want pointless punishment, but courageous policies that does justice to the courage and capacity of our people. All this bookkeeping and negativity from Brian Cowen misses the huge potential that the environment presents as a method of recovery. It's particularly galling that two Green Party ministers in government sitting around the cabinet table are accepting this notion, that it's all about hikes in taxes and cuts in services and all of those particular issues, that they don't have a plan. Well, it isn't about all of that. It's about growth, investment, job creation and a vision. Fine Gael, unlike the government, has a vision when it comes to the environment, a practical vision. Practical vision like Denmark has shown us in the past and continues to show us today. Denmark in the 80s said to itself, we can't continue to pay high oil prices, we'll generate solar and wind power and we'll make money while we're at it. That's precisely what they did. The technology they developed has created a whole new export industry. 1/3 of all terrestrial wind turbines in the world are sold by Denmark. Saving our environment means saving our economy too. It means generating energy that we will sell on to the rest of Europe. And within 10 years, this country, led by Fine Gael, will be a net exporter of energy. That's just one of the aims of our massive, detailed and well-costed new document, the New Era Policy, which was launched last week by Enda Kenny. That's the vision, the practical vision that links our economy and our environment and turns the combination into a powerhouse for the future. And central to the Fine Gael policy is investment to create more than 100,000 jobs. They're the high-level careers that will come out of getting universities like Trinity, which have a fine track record in technology transfer, now begin to concentrate on green technology. The careers that emerge from developing a brand presence in the world in energy harvesting devices. I believe, and Fine Gael believes, that what we did with butter through Kerrygold, we can do the same for green technology. We now have a different imperative to stamp our brand, our Irish brand, on our green brand, on the most exciting. We can have a new Irish green brand on the most exciting new technology to harvest and store energy, to carve out a new export market for ourselves. That's the vision, the practical vision. That's what's important about Fine Gael's environment policy. It's not about banning energy inefficient light bulbs. It's about taking an unprecedented economic crisis and turning it into an environmental opportunity. Fine Gael plans to reorientate some of our existing state companies, some of which we founded, and changing their direction in order to create employment. So when in a couple of months our candidates arrive on the doorsteps around the country during the local elections, they're going to be able to prove to the electorate that Fine Gael is the rescue party, the solutions party, the party with a team of passionate, hard-working professionals who know how to pull this country up off its knees, the party of ideas. This is how we'll recover from Fianna Fáil's failure to run this country responsibly. This is a strategy that will help put Fine Gael at the forefront of future economic progress. This is the vision that will put people back to work. Thank you.